Hey YouTube. So recently I wanted to look up relationships and do some research in search of a question. Basically it was because I find that there's a lot of times I enter a relationship and I find that when you come to decision making, it's like one person asks a question and the other person answers, it's up to you. And it always ends up on one person to make the decisions, like where to eat, what to do that day, like just small things. And we don't realize it, but it becomes frustrating over a certain period of time. And I understand why many of us are unsure of our rules or when we can put input in. But, I mean, even when I was little, I had a lot of magazines or the media who influenced my ideas of what a perfect relationship was about, like Cosmo and Top 10 Things Girls Want in Guys, or like the era of the sensitive guy, or like the metrosexual guy, and like the advice for men to develop their feminine side. And there's been a lot of advice from people saying once you enter a marriage, the one thing a man starts to say is just, yes, dear. And I don't agree with that because it comes down to it's up to you. And I find that it's a joke more than it actually is any type of wisdom. So after me trying to research, I picked up a couple of books, I did some readings, I looked online, and I didn't find anything that actually was giving me answers. It was a lot of wisdom that I was reading, and I was looking for more advice on how we should be in relationships, like what it takes to be in a relationship rather than what the media has put out there. And I went to the original source, the first relationship ever, which developed between Adam and Eve. And I realized that this story is rather interesting when I'm analyzing it at a relationship perspective, because the original source of relationships between men and women began between Adam and Eve. Adam started off alone, and he asked God for a wife. He asked for a companion, and God provided him with Eve. And he only gave them one commandment, and it was not to eat the fruit of wisdom, the tree of knowledge that bared this fruit. They weren't allowed to touch it. And it was interesting because Adam was okay with that beforehand, like he didn't touch it prior to Eve coming. And once Eve came to the Garden of Eden, she saw this tree and she was like, I'm gonna take a bite. Like, it wasn't on her, but at the end of the day, she made a decision, and she included Adam. She was like, yo, Adam, like, I just took a bite of this, and I think you should endure it. Like, I think you should try it too. And the minute Adam took the bite of the tree of knowledge, he hid. He just ran into a bush, and when God looked for him and he wanted to ask him about it, he was like, he didn't even take on the responsibility of his actions. And he wasn't worthy. I don't know. Didn't seem like he was worthy of Eve in the sense that in a relationship, it's about responsibility, and you got to stop blaming others. If a man works on himself and develops himself, he's then worthy, and a woman would want to be his partner. And if he isn't worthy, then she doesn't want to be with him. And what did Adam do next after he ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge? He hid, like I said, and when God asked him, he said, the woman that you sent me, God, she is the one. She's the one that asked me to eat that fruit. It was her. And I couldn't believe it. He gave in to something he knew was wrong. He knew because of God. God told him, yo, don't eat it. And he then blamed his wife. It's like he didn't even know what he was doing. Like, he wasn't aware of his actions when he knew what he was doing was wrong. And I thought even men today tend to blame the wife or the woman in their life for everything going wrong. It's not always the case of the girl, And I'm not trying to blame the guy. I'm not saying that it's you guys. No, I'm just saying, like, are you aware of yourself? Are you aware of what you contributed into a relationship? And I feel that this first relationship is such a significant lesson, and it's in the first chapter. You know, like my search, I find ended, and it was a timeless search to figure this out. And I feel that the lesson that can be learned from Adam is that you need to be strong. You need to take on responsibilities, and don't do things that are wrong and then blame others for what you did. If you make the mistake, take the responsibility for your action. I mean, one of the meanings for the word husband is a man who's skillful in his household. And I mean, a manager takes responsibility. As Adam experienced, there's no sympathy for a man who does not take on responsibilities for his action. He wasn't just punished for eating the fruit. He was punished for not taking on the responsibility. And that goes on to taking leadership. And I feel that's the second lesson we can learn. If a man is worthy, like I said, he will have a good relationship with a woman. He has to show leadership, not be the leader, just show leadership. When he sees a situation that needs to be dealt with, he needs to step forward and handle it, you know, and people admire that in somebody. If you see someone in a difficult situation and they're able to handle it, you look at them, and many people will go to you for problem solving. And problem solving goes down to decision making, and I think that's the third lesson that we can learn from the first relationship ever. And I mean, the word of being manly, some would say, is like being decisive, you know, to make decisions and be responsible for the outcomes that come with those decisions. And if you're reluctant to make decisions, many people might resent that. Like, I know when it comes down to being in a relationship and it was always on me to make up my mind, and I wasn't getting input, I would just get frustrated at the end of the day. And if you're not sure of a solution, I mean, do what leaders do. Research, search. There's so many ways to get information nowadays. And then, I mean, don't be afraid to make mistakes once you make those decisions. And that comes down to the fourth lesson about being strong. In a relationship, you have to be strong. And if you can control your passions, you can control anything. Those who can control their anger can be stronger than anyone who's physically strong. Like, blowing up is seriously damaging in a relationship. And if you can't control your anger, the image that you're portraying is not something that somebody wants to be with. And I mean, be manly. And I don't mean that to be macho. I just mean possess those positive qualities that it takes to be a man. Like, you guys we are different. Biologically, we are different. And you have to find your own strength, your own confidence, your own self-reliance, have your own high morals and qualities, self-discipline, honesty, and integrity. A man who has this, he is manly. He has courage. And he can deal with any difficulties that might come his way, pain or even danger. And once you're manly to a woman, despite your smallest fear, you could be the strongest person in her life. And if you don't think what I'm saying is true or accurate, that's cool. Just let me know down there. I appreciate your comments. If there's anything that I didn't discuss, or if I did discuss, please message me. Thank you.